Collective individuality. All by myself, I decided that hair dye, Botox, and cosmetics were not made for me. 1,000 miles away, you made the same decision, and we passed you during our trip. Sitting home alone in the dark, I realized that we were headed in the wrong direction. Half a continent away, I heard a stranger say just that on a far-off radio frequency. I set out to save the world via the personal attainment of a sustainable lifestyle. You invented the same solution, and we never had to meet or talk it over at all. We rejected childlike Christian fairy tales for the sound of a hand clapping, all alone. Millions of us wandered in these same directions, happy not ever seeing one another. We both traveled far from totally different places to this unremarkable vista point. You had a brother not far from us, and we had once shopped in your town. Your large SUV cost too much to fill, and we found no solitude upon the trails. We shook our heads in agreement. There was no stopping this thing called progress. We talked it over alone at home and gave up on factory poultry and industrial beef. Overnight, new industries appeared as unrelated millions made the same decisions. My well-considered conclusions on social issues were never shared with a soul. But you read my mind out loud in an interview with another random citizen. I knew I was alone and righteous in banishing packaged sports from my TV set. Lo and behold, their ratings began sliding for good all across the nation. Thinking about it, I realized that neither chemicals nor creation was for me. Next thing I knew, green burials came along, seeking to fill the bill for a profit. We sold our giant house before the stupid speculative market bubble burst. Luxurious downsizing was reported as a great new trend among us. I realized that the inner political circle did not have our best interests in mind. Their numbers continued to sag despite all their best in marketing efforts. After my last downsizing, I would never again pledge allegiance to any corporation. The same lack of trust and commitment spread silently to colleagues I never met. I came to my own conclusion that neither party worked for my real interests. The independent label grew faster than it ever had before. Despite their best efforts, I became convinced of the reality of global warming. They were left holding their empty rhetoric as people changed of their own accord. We realized that real estate agents should not share in the proceeds of our work. We had no problem in connecting with buyers and sellers who shared these beliefs. In quiet, solitary meditation, I slowly learned to find a little peace. You did the same, and likewise never spoke of it with another person. Talking only to each other, we concluded we would never get to spend all that time we were saving every day. Millions silently realized the decreasing marginal benefits of more money, longer working hours, and ever-increasing consumption. After too many pointless tasks, the artificial deadlines and hazy goals of foolish project managers could no longer motivate me at all. They laid us off for good in favor of those still young enough to swallow the nonsense they could only parrot nervously. We had enough Hollywood special effects and overhyped, overpaid so-called stars. We shared opinions on independent and foreign films we all watched on the web. I laughed at the absurdity of the big box drive-through evangelical megachurches. Gradually their congregations decreased, even as their advertising was redoubled. You cut my hair for years, and it only saved us a bit of money. Economists noted a trend towards fewer salons charging more in a shrinking market. My Spanish always helped me to communicate with the janitors in our buildings. Now they say it's a vital skill in the newly globalized economy that we all must live in. We laughed about their latest mania for those 300-foot-long luxury yachts. Polls showed few believed any of their extra money was really trickling down to us. We privately decided to make a personal statement regarding overpopulation. Demographers noted that the educated bred at lower rates than the swarming immigrants. We determined to support our troops by wishing for the ouster of their chief. Public support evaporated despite the light and heat of all their ongoing propaganda. We smiled at their awkward efforts to put a few bags of groceries into a giant pickup truck. The era of the monster vehicle was over long before American makers even had a clue.